So, what happened was a high school valedictorian with back problems, allegedly, shot another high school valedictorian in the back and killed him. And, people have some feelings about it, is one thing to say. And you're not going to like some of them. Hey, I'm Ellen. This is the bitch slap of truth. And we're going to talk about the UnitedHealthcare Brian Thompson, Luigi Mangione? Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it properly. Story with a slightly different angle because this is the bitch slap of truth. And I think it's important to look at the people and the moments and the ideas that are really shaping our culture and how we're responding to it, especially when life delivers us or someone else or the world at large a little bitch slap of truth. So that's what we're going to talk about. And also I'm just going to rant about it because I'm new to YouTube and I don't know how to edit. So sorry about that. So real quick, if you aren't familiar with this story, welcome to the internet. This is a thing that people are doing now. Um, this this thing happened on December 4th in Midtown Manhattan, where Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, which is the biggest American healthcare insurance company, he was strolling out of his hotel at 6:45 or 6:30, and there happened to be somebody else waiting for him who proceeded to shoot him, I believe twice, once in the back. And unfortunately, CEO Brian Thompson died. And I will say, unfortunately, and as we're going to see, some other people don't feel like it's maybe quite as unfortunate as they might. Anyway, so the shooter leaves, apparently jumps on some sort of bike and disappears. And the police go trekking around, obviously trying to find this person. By the way, it's captured on like multiple cameras. So there's no real attempt to hide this. At some point during the police investigation, they found a backpack in Central Park that was full of Monopoly money. I think this is there's so many weird details about this case, but this is one of my like, huh? Okay. Seems a little convenient. Yeah, Monopolies are bad. Here's a backpack. So, anyway, eventually, a few days later, somebody from McDonald's, allegedly an employee, perhaps alerted by a group of folks at McDonald's, sees all the images that are circulating of this guy and calls in a tip because dude happens to be sitting in the back of McDonald's right now eating some hash browns or something of this nature. And by the way, can I just say there's a great little moment of one of the older gentlemen who allegedly, according to him, goes to the McDonald's every day with his friends. And they saw this guy and they were like, oh, he looks kind of like the picture we've been seeing about this fellow, this New York thing. And, then he gets interviewed later. And I gotta say, like if you were elderly and eating, daily at McDonald's with your friends, this would be kind of a highlight moment. And listen, no shade, because I am positive when I'm a couple of years older than now, I'm really not that far away from eating at McDonald's daily with my friends. So again, no shade. So anyway, that's where a man named Luigi Mangione or Mangione, sorry, don't know. Italian Americans, please correct me. I'm sure we're all getting it wrong. Anyway, he gets, captured and he's got this stuff with him, including $8,000 and then a piece of writing that the police haven't released, but somebody else did release. They're calling his manifesto, where basically it's, he or the manifesto attributed to him. And again, as far as I know, he didn't claim it was a manifesto. Basically said, hey, I'm real sorry about this. Those parasites had it coming. And I'm sorry for stress and trauma this caused. But, we all know this whole thing is health insurance in America is basically bullshit. And someone had to do it. And it was me. Obviously, you can go look online for the full transcript. which again, police have not released. This is media that's released this. There was also another manifesto released 2 hours after they caught him, which was a real heartbreaker about why he did this. It involved a story about his mother and her back pain and being denied. People now believe that that was sort of it. Well, that was a plant of somebody. Was it a plant of Luigi? Was it a plant of his people? Because there are plenty of people who don't think this guy acted alone. Yes, we already have an acted alone moment. So they take the guy in, and a couple of days later, we see footage of him, being taken from the police car. This is in Altoona, Pennsylvania, by the way, which is another fun detail. And, we see footage of him yelling to the crowd that this is an insult to the intelligence of Americans and injustice, et cetera, et cetera. So there's sort of a weird dynamic here of if this is the dude, he's taking credit, kind of, but also not taking credit, and it's an injustice. And so, in essence, people have feelings about this. And this is the part that's kind of interesting to me. I'm just a small business coach, but a lot of what, we kind of teach people about and talk about is how to get attention, but then how to create allegiance. You may have heard we live in kind of an attention economy. You may have noticed this, but allegiance is something deeper. And that's where you not just get attention, but you really involve people's feelings. Well, people definitely have feelings about this one. So anyway, immediately after, he was caught and this two versions of the manifesto were released, people were doing and saying a lot of stuff online, basically supporting him, this act. One professor from Columbia said something to the effect in class, I believe, today we honor the 68,000 Americans who died because they were refused healthcare that they paid for. So, but we won't throw him out because I don't know what his name is, and that's just a thing that was reported. But many, many people got online and they had stuff to say, and that stuff to say, reflecting their feelings, continues. So, for example, how did this ripple effect really start to be felt in the last few days? I think this is indeed the fascinating part about us and our culture and our digital culture and how we create stories and pick sides and get involved in these narratives in a way that wouldn't have been possible 20, 25 years ago without not just the internet, but social media, all that fun stuff. So this part is really interesting. Allegedly, his lawyer has been absent. The law office and the lawyer has been just deluged with calls and letters of people offering to pay for Luigi's defense. So you can tell people got some feels there. In New York City, several wanted posters went up all over the place of different healthcare CEOs' faces, suggesting that, the job wasn't quite done. And also, allegedly, a bunch of major healthcare companies took hid the faces and names of their CEOs, which seems understandable under the circumstances. And probably my favorite detail of all is, okay, so this guy was caught at McDonald's. And my favorite detail of all is a tweet from either Burger King or somebody pretending to be Burger King that said, the tweet just said, "We don't snitch." So people are really digging that. So if that is Burger King, burn on McDonald's, man, that is I can't help it. That's just some funny shit. Now, here's the thing. We don't know for sure if this is the guy. We don't know for sure if he wrote this alleged second manifesto, the kind of shorter one. We don't know if he's claiming this, if he's not claiming this. But we do know that this gentleman, Luigi, was a high school valedictorian of a very exclusive school in Maryland. We do know that he went to college, has advanced degrees, is an incredibly smart guy who comes from generational wealth. Uh, like when I say generational, the kind where if you were having some health problems and if your insurance denied you, there'd probably be someone to step up and pay your bills, right? So, what is going on here? There's also a report from this friend of his who lives in Hawaii. I think the guy's name is R.F. Martin. Forgive me if that's not right. Anyway, the friend uh, is the owner, host of a community living in Hawaii where there's sort of a give back element to this group. And he delightfully reported that not only was, Luigi a good friend, um, and, a smart guy and a good listener, and everybody liked him, but also shared that, which seems an odd thing for a friend to share. And by the way, when I go down for something, equally upsetting, if I do, please don't share this detail about me because I thought this was pushing it just a little far. But he shared that Luigi had allegedly shared with him that due to the back problems that Luigi had, he had a history of back problems. There have been some x-rays that are allegedly his, that were on one of his social media posts. And he went to Hawaii, he moved into this community, he did a surf lesson, and that really crashed him out for days. And the point is that he's been living with this really debilitating back pain for some time, which is just sad and makes me feel awful because, side note, I have lived with some ongoing pain in my life that I didn't think was ever going to clear up, and it sucks. And it affects your mental health massively, massively, massively. But Mr. Martin, his friend at the Hawaii community living space, also shared that Luigi had shared that he had some dating problems due to how much pain he was in, how he hadn't found any resolution to this. And so it really, really affected, his relationships and ability to, let's just say, um, get perhaps a little closer to women in his life that he might be interested, and that this was very depressing and upsetting. Now, here's where, if you're interested in the idea that perhaps Luigi was really suffering from, some pretty exquisite ongoing back problems, felt like there was no hope for him, felt like at 26, he just kind of had enough, and his mental health was really breaking down. His family and friends had not spoken to him for quite some time prior to this December 4th thing that happened, where, again, a high school valedictorian from a very exclusive school allegedly shot another high school valedictorian, who, if I haven't said, is Brian Thompson from UnitedHealthcare. So his mother allegedly also filed a missing person report for him about 2 weeks prior to this December 4th thing. So basically, family and friends weren't in touch recently. So this is where you need to, if you're interested in this idea, shout out to one of my favorite YouTube channels, Hidden True Crime, with Lauren and Dr. John Matthias. Dr. John Matthias is a criminal and forensic psychologist, and he does a breakdown of the possible motives here, mental health motives, what may have happened. And Dr. John's the guy to, I think, listen to if this is a possibility. But all in all, what we're seeing are these extremely strong reactions from many people. I think there's sort of three camps. There's the people who are like, yes, it sucks, it had to happen this way, but there's some version of those parasites had it coming, meaning people are really, really frustrated with watching people they love and care about being denied certain types of healthcare, even though they've paid for it. Then there's another group that's basically like, yes, but it never justifies murder. Nothing justifies murder. This man, although he was being investigated for some insider trading where he made millions, and by this man, I mean Brian Thompson, the guy who was shot and killed. Although this guy may have done some pretty sketchy crap, and he was as a newer CEO of UnitedHealthcare, he'd increased their profits, I think, by another $4 billion. And one of the ways he did this, and here comes our friend, your friend and mine, AI. He was instrumental. Brian Thompson was instrumental in the use of AI to start denying healthcare claims, and thus people's ability to claim money from United Healthcare had gone down, and that's part of what allowed them to increase their profits. I think one number I saw was from 12 billion to 16 billion. And I am not an investigator reporter, so please don't quote anything I said. I'm just a person ranting on the internet and also new to YouTube. So, I'm figuring this stuff out. So that second group of people is like, hey, might have been a kind of, he's doing some stuff, but he's still a human. He's still a father. He's still important to his friends and his family, and murder is never the answer. And then there's the third category of people who I'm going to name murder is never the answer, but that's the that's the third category of people. People are already being hilarious about this on TikTok. They're saying, murder is never the answer. However, right, to get around that, and I think these people also have a point. If, in fact, Luigi was the guy, and let's just say that his back problems and the ongoing mental health struggle that might have been there, and the inability perhaps to form relationships a little bit more, again, we'll say intimately, and this feeling like nothing was going to help it. Here's this guy with everything going for him. He's good looking. Did I mention he's good looking? He's good looking. And that is going to play into this for sure. Oh, by the way, the jacket that he was wearing in the pictures that surfaced of him where you could see the shooter was wearing, where you could see the shooter's face or some of the shooter's face. The jacket that the shooter was wearing is apparently already just sold out. So you can see, people are, allegiance is happening. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not just attention that's happening here, it's allegiance. And we see it in things like the jacket being sold out. So, as I was saying, this third category of people is saying murder's not the answer, but what is the answer? If he's really the one who did this, if he's really that second manifesto where he says the parasites had it coming was written by him and not by law enforcement, which has also been alleged by some, I don't know. I have no idea. If that's the case, what is the answer? Because how do people change things that are as unfair as as America's healthcare system? And again, United Healthcare is the biggest provider. So we'll tap back into this, I'm sure. But I mentioned just a few of the things I've heard as I'm sort of trying to follow this story. And most importantly, what I'm trying to figure out is the meanings people are making, the allegiances they are creating, the way this is affecting people in such an emotional way, whether or not, and by the way, there's a ton of debate on whether this is really the guy, because he's sort of claiming it. In other ways, he's saying, hey, that money they found on me when I was hanging out at McDonald's eating my hash brown? That wasn't mine. That was planted. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of your thoughts and beliefs about this? Did I pronounce Luigi Mangione correctly? Did I not? How do you feel now? I think there's how people felt a few days ago. December 9th, I believe, was when Luigi Mangione was caught in a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, eating his hash brown. And and people had a lot of feelings then, but it's a few days later as I'm filming this video. It's December 16th, I believe, and whole new vortexes of mystery and suspense and suspicion and support and denial have come into play. I'd love to hear what stories you've heard, what you believe, and what do you think this means about all of us shaping this narrative? And if in this case a bitch slap of truth was delivered, perhaps to the American people, perhaps to us, perhaps to Luigi, definitely whether or not he deserved it, to Brian Thompson and his family, what does this say about where we are? So, hey, thanks again. My name's Ellen. Thanks for listening to me rant on YouTube. And just remember, again, this is a very serious subject, but I'm a dark humor person. So I got to say, my big props for the day definitely go for that alleged Burger King tweet. We don't snitch. Again, or whoever said that. But tell me, share with me your thoughts about this, what you see happening, and where you think this is going to go. Oh, one last detail. I'd love to know if any of you can confirm, deny, delay, or depose, haha, the bullets, casings that Luigi allegedly used a ghost gun, which is a manufactured, apparently you can just manufacture guns now with 3D printer. And the 3 bullet casings that were dropped allegedly said delay, deny, depose, which are this common phrase in the insurance industry. Delightful, right? So if you can confirm or deny any of the kind of swirling suspicion around whether or not he actually wrote that manifesto, whether or not he actually is claiming or is not claiming, and most of all, where the hell are we going with all of this? So I guess if I had to come out with a standpoint, I think I'm probably, I hate to say it, but I'm probably in the murder is never justified. You shouldn't be killing people. Mm, but what should we be doing? What should we be doing? And if you go check out what Dr. John Matthias has to say on hidden true crime, we will pin a link in our description. In, the criminal and forensic psychologist, his argument is fascinating. And basically, what he's arguing there is that this is more or less a personal experience that we can say a perhaps martyrdom moment on behalf of a greater cause. Some frosting on a shit cake basically has happened there. That Dr. John did not say that. That's my reporting. So go watch Hidden True Crime because that's really fascinating. And please tell me, what do you think? What have you heard? For those of you who are way more accuracy oriented than I am, I would love to hear what you can confirm, deny, depose, delay, any of the things. Hey, thanks for watching this.